Why is it that every Toy Story movie works? Seriously. Most franchises eventually fall apart, the sequels become repetitive, the characters stop growing, the magic just disappears. But somehow a movie about living toys has managed to stay emotionally relevant for more than 30 years. Even the films that people call unnecessary still received strong reactions and spark passionate discussions amongst fans and just cinema lovers. That's almost unheard of for a franchise this old. Honestly, I don't think any Toy Story film has gotten it wrong. So, what's the secret? Well, before that, please do subscribe to my channel, Screen and Soul, and do give a like to my videos. Check out all my videos, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you are cinema lovers, you love cinema content, this channel is for you. Anyways, back to the video. So this is what I think the secret is. Every Toy Story movie is about the same thing at one level, growing up, yes. But every sequel explores a different stage of growing up. The original Toy Story isn't really about toys, okay, it is, but it's about insecurity. Woody is terrified of being replaced, a new toy suddenly arrives, and suddenly he feels forgotten, right? As kids, we've always felt that, right? Maybe a new sibling came along, maybe a friend drifted away, maybe someone else got the attention we wanted, right? So the movie takes those feelings, which quite frankly are universal, and turns them into a buddy adventure. But underneath all the jokes, I mean, it's a very human fear, right? What if I'm no longer important? By the end, Woody learns something powerful. Love isn't a competition, right? You don't become less valuable, just because someone new enters your life or whatever. That's why the first movie still works today. Now let's jump to Toy Story 2. This one asks a completely different question. What happens when you realize that nothing lasts forever? Woody discovers that Andy will obviously grow up one day. He won't really need toys anymore. And for toys in this world, right, is a devastating idea. This isn't really a movie about toys. It's about mortality in a way, right? It's about choosing a meaningful life over a permanent one. And that's one of the reasons so many people think Toy Story 2 is actually the best in the series. Then comes Toy Story 3. And honestly, this is considered to have the best ending, the greatest ending ever made. Because every kid eventually reaches this moment. You grow up, you move on, and you leave your childhood behind. The toys aren't terrified of being discarded, but the movie isn't really even asking what happens to toys. It's asking what happens to us when a chapter about our lives ends. The incinerator scene isn't scary because we think the toys will die. It's scary because we've all had moments where we felt something important slipping away. Then comes that final scene, Andy giving away his toys. Thanks, guys. I don't know many animated movies that understand growing up so well. It isn't just about saying goodbye, it's about appreciating something before letting go. For so many people, Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending, and honestly, I understand why. Which is why Toy Story 4 was met at some level with so much skepticism, right? Did we really need another one? And quite frankly, it seems, yeah, we did. Because Toy Story 4 asks a question that none of the previous films did. What happens after your purpose ends? For an animated film, that's such a solid and such a deep question to ask. Woody is no longer at the center of Bonnie's life. For the first time, he feels unnecessary. And that's something adults understand all too well. Maybe it's retirement. Maybe your kids growing up. Maybe a job that once defined you, but now it disappears. Who are you when the role you've always played no longer exists? Toy Story 4 says something beautiful and profound, right? You can find a new purpose. Your story doesn't end just because one chapter closes. Some fans dislike the ending because Woody leaves the gang. Others think it's a beautiful, natural evolution of his character, something very soulful and deep for an animated film, man, on toys. And honestly, the fact that people are, having this debate even today, years later, proves something. The movie had something meaningful to say. And now, even with Toy Story 5 continuing the story, the franchise appears to be asking another timely question. What happens when childhood itself changes? In the age of screens and technology, even decades later, these movies keep finding a new way to explore growing up. That's the real secret of Toy Story. The movies change because we change. As children, we relate to Andy. As teenagers, we relate to growing up. As adults, we relate to Woody, right? Every sequel just grows older with its audience. And why these movies don't feel like products, right? They feel like life. And maybe that's why Toy Story just never really fails, because beneath the talking toys and the adventures and the comedy, Toy Story has always been about us, right? That's the thing about this film, or the series rather, is that it's a film about talking toys. It's animated, it's cartoonish, it's fun, it's for children, but at the same time, it's also for teenagers, it's also for adults, and it's a film for everyone. And I think it's the only, just animated feature film that is just so meaningful, and it's so much about life and just adapts with changing times. And that's why I think Toy Story series just gets it right every time, because they don't just get stuck in this loop of making the same thing over and over again. And if you see all these other, series or whatever, like the Scary Movie series, Final Destination, or whatever else, they just get into like this loop. So yeah, man, Toy Story series, it's a special series. I just don't think they're gonna get it wrong. You know what I mean? Because life keeps changing. So yeah, guys, that's that. Please do like, share, subscribe to my channel, Screen and Soul. If you love this type of content, please just support my channel, ladies and gentlemen, and appreciate it. So yeah, that's that. Until next time, guys, peace out. Bye. And do watch Toy Story 5. It's very good. Trust me. Peace out.